What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is the King and I Life podcast, hosted by myself, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother, Sou X in his joint. Check it out. Hit us up, www.kingandilife.com for all our podcast info. Subscribe to whatever podcast platform that you choose. Also, hit us up, KINGANDEYE369@gmail.com. Email us your suggestions, your feedback, and all that good stuff. Tune in to us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because we are all over all those social media platforms. Stay tuned for the good stuff. Yeah, we out. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the King and I Life podcast. It's your boy, Soul Toucher the Poet, and my brother,
Sou X.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know how to get at us. So it's another fine week in the year of 2022.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to jump into this topic: science or religion. This is one of them topics that that ruffles a lot of feathers. So Sou X, what you thinking on this, man?
Man, it's one of those things that has been going on ever since they introduced science to the world. Because as far as we know, religion was here first. But I don't know. To me, man, I really think they're one and the same. And people were like, "What? What the hell are you talking about? One and the same?" Well, with religion, people. They go by this book, and they go to worship services, and they all tend to generally believe the same thing. And I think it's kind of like the same thing with science. People tend to want to believe the same thing, and then when someone comes up with a different hypothesis or a different way of looking at science with proof, if it doesn't line up with certain scientists, their ideals, they refuse to accept it. So, again, this is just my personal opinion. I see them as one that's the same. One, they're trying to sell you a religious being, and the other one is not a religious being, but they want to follow the same damn ideas. Any new ideas is rejected.
Well, to get us started on this, man has come to the unanimous conclusion that our sun is approximately 4.5 billion years old. Dinosaurs came into existence approximately 230 million years ago. Dinosaurs disappeared about 65 million years ago. Now, with men and all our infinite wisdom, it is said that Jesus was born between 4 BC, when Herod the Great died, and 6 BC. So the question is going to be, what is your conclusion on these studies? Follow behind what you were saying.
All right.
I talk more lean towards science has been here before religion. But I can kind of agree with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if we base this off of what the overwhelming hypothesis is, I'll use that, is that religion is not that old. Religion is pretty much 2,000 years old, 3,000 years old, something like that, to that degree. Because we're in We're in 2022 right now. And, if you subtract 2022 years, you got 0. Now that's 2022 years. Now, if you're talking about the sun is 4.5 billion years old, for me, science is older than religion. Um, but again, this is one of those topics where I would have to say, if you wasn't there and you didn't see it happen, how can you be 100% sure? Um, as humans and throughout my life, I've understood, noticed, and learned that as humans, we have to have something to believe. We just have to. It's just like that's just our makeup as humans. Um, so that's my little piece on it.
I would agree with that. I definitely feel that. Hold on, let me back up. To all of our listeners out there, I owe you guys an apology. I was thinking about it today. We had a podcast on do bodies really matter, meaning your sexual partners. And me and Soul Touch kind of got off subject, and the question was raised: if my wife murdered someone in self-defense, meaning defending herself, our child, and of course myself, for whatever reason I wouldn't be able to do it, would I stay with her? And I said no. So self-check on myself. Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on myself. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I can't keep it real with myself, how can I expect myself to keep it real with you listeners and with my fellow host? So I apologize to you guys. Again, bullshit. I will not leave my wife if she did that. So anyway, got that off my chest. Back to the subject at hand. Science is one of those things to me where, they're always looking to prove something new from a different angle. Mm-hmm. And again, when it comes down to, like you're saying, the sun was here long before religion. So I think it is, again, one of those things where people choose to believe in what they want to believe in. Case in point, there are so many characters in the Bible where they said, this person lived and that person lived and this person did that and that person did that. But yet and still, for all those thousands of characters and people who were supposedly in the Bible, how come we can't go to not one of their grave sites now? Affirmatively, meaning this is, they'll say this is allegedly where so and so and so and so is at rest, or this is allegedly where Noah's Ark was built, or something around that. So that part alone for me really, for lack of a better word, it strikes a nerve with me, because it's like, okay, if you're telling me that this person did exist, but you can't take me to their graveyard or their gravesite for a definite, the only thing you can give me is allegedly. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's hocus pocus to me to a certain extent. But again, going back to science itself, science is supposed to be more concrete, right? Meaning we can prove what it is that we're saying existed or may exist or things along that line. But again, the biggest thing about that is when people say, um, or try to introduce a new idea, if it doesn't align with the so-called protocol of the science world, it's immediately rejected, no matter how much proof you got that says otherwise. And that's why I think science and religion pretty much go hand in hand, because people only want to believe what they want to believe, and they reject anything that doesn't align with what that image of their belief is.
Hmm. Let me see. I got to give a little pushback on the grave site and cemetery thing, um, only because um, if you look at recent times, you can't even find a lot of grave sites and cemeteries for people who died in the last 200-300 years. Um, Outside of that, um, there's a whole bunch of people on this planet. And with there being a whole bunch of people on this planet, this planet is kind of overpopulated. So a lot of things that were, let's just say, considered cemeteries or grave sites or graveyards or things of that nature have been bulldozed and erased and this, that, and the other. So a lot of things are hard to find. Um, there have been so many situations in our history to where grave sites have been dug up to put cities and stuff in. Um, to get back to the conversation, though, going back in time, science and I think also religion. So I can agree with you to a point on going hand in hand. Science and religion look at us having one landmass, okay, and all those land masses broke apart because of the plates under the earth and earthquakes, volcanoes, this, that, and the other. Um, so with that being said, we know how volcanoes are. Lava is hot and it burns everything in sight. Earthquakes swallow up and do this, that, and the other. So a lot of things in history are not going to be found. Um, Hell, they said dinosaurs covered the earth. I mean, if it was possible to dig up every fossil of every animal that lived on this planet, I don't think there'd be enough room for people. Um, then we also have to take into consideration what may or may not be under the oceans. Um, so all of that has to be taken into consideration. The other thing that I would say, as far as all of these people in the Bible, when I was growing up, they made it seem like these people were superhuman or not human at all. And they made it seem like a lot of these people did, for lack of a better term, magical things. Quite a few of them, not all of them. So for me, I struggle with that because one, uh, it's like religion is forced upon us, and we're led to believe that this Bible that has been translated from so many different languages and reworked and reworded, dumbed down, smartened up to appeal to whatever generation is absorbing it in the best way that they can absorb it. Now, when you look at certain things in science, let's just say you dig up, they stick these things in the ground that take samples of the earth, probably like a mile deep, and they date all of that stuff that they bring up, and they find certain things into that, and they have scientific methods of dating these things. It kind of tells me that, you know, there was a world long before religion. So I mean, that's just my pull on that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking up some information here. Again, I get that the Earth has supposedly shifted, from again what they tell us, and I get that earthquakes happen. I get that volcano eruptions happen. I get all that. But again, my thing is, out of the thousands supposedly thousands of characters in the Bible, you can't find one. I mean, you didn't even give me 3 or 4, just one.
Where would you find them? They supposedly know where Jesus was buried. I mean, that's
again,
one.
Supposedly. You know what I'm saying? Supposedly, or, it was said. It kind of reminds me of Fox News. You know how Fox News is always saying, well, some will say, or it's alleged that some will say. Again, that's just how I see that. But they're saying that Stonehenge is 4,500 years old.
Long before religion.
Okay, so.
Well, wait. Before I let you finish, sorry for interrupting.
All right, go ahead.
Before Christianity.
All right.
All right, so go ahead.
So if you're telling me Stonehenge is 4,500 years old, you had that supposedly before religion, I guess you could say. You can find that, but not one character. And I'll leave it at that. But science, again, I think science is wonderful when it's used correctly. Meaning, you come up with your thesis, you come up with the support or the facts that support that thesis, and you lay out all the evidence, and you say this is why 1 + 1 = 2, or this is why 1 + 1 = 3. Again, I'll say that again: 1 + 1 = 3. But you have evidence supporting what you're stating, and you're saying these are facts. This is what happens when you let ketchup roll down a hill free flowing. We know that it takes this amount of time. We can actually see this with our own 2 eyes. We can record this with camera, take pictures. We can log it to be true, that it took from point A to point B, it took this long for the ketchup to roll down the hill. But again, that's fine and well. But if someone comes with an idea and say, no, it may take ketchup that long. But if you start breaking down the consistency of ketchup, that some is thicker than other types of ketchup, this type of ketchup may go faster than that type. And group A is saying, no, group B, no, we're sticking with Heinz. Heinz is the only ketchup we believe in, so your tackle or your idea as far as your brand, we can't subscribe to that. But Group B is saying the same exact thing, but it's a different brand. But Group A is still saying, no, we can't accept that. Even though everything Group B is the same thing Group A is saying, it's just a different brand. It's a different consistency. meaning one ketchup is either thicker or thinner than the other. So the one that's thinner moves faster than the one that's thicker. But again, science is such a vast field, and there are so many um, people within the science world who have made science very popular. Again, I feel that they've made it so popular that they've turned it into a form of religion. I have an uncle who's a scientist, right? Dude went to school, got the papers and all that. But he is so much of a scientist that um, he wants to see facts on everything. Like he has to have proof on everything. There is no gut feeling or um, he can't let go of the why. He has to know why so and so is like that. And I get it. But when you are so focused on the why, you don't stop to consider the is, meaning the reason it's like that is because it's just like that. You don't have to always know why it's like that, just accept the fact that it is. It's kind of like asking why are there millions of kids disappearing in the world. We know that you know there's a reason behind it, and we know that there are certain agencies who are supposed to be investigating those disappearances. But the why or the question is why is there such a consistent number of kids disappearing every year? Why is the number so consistent? No one can tell us that. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Um, so you brought up Stonehenge, um, which you said was like what 4,000 years old or whatever.
45.
4,500 years
Yeah.
old. Um, so again, there's a lot of things on this planet that um, either cannot be answered for or can't accurately be answered for. Um, Again, when you talk about finding graves and shit from 1,000 years ago, that's going to be hard. Um, with um, with things that are here from the past. Um, so if Stonehenge is about 4,500 years old,
Right.
the great pyramids in Egypt were built in 2600 BC, which is give or take 100 200 years older or newer than Stonehenge. So around the planet, we do have things that are left behind from whatever time period. Um, how these things were constructed, placed, or whatever the case may be, no one knows. There are a lot of theories out there. Um, I personally would lean more towards the scientific assumptions as to how these items were built or constructed, as opposed to no verifiable answer in the Bible. Um, because yes, people will ask why. They want facts. They want this. They want that. They want all of this stuff. and I say this with a lot of conversations, um, everything that we know, everything that we have learned, is largely based off of someone's best guess or assumption, period. And that goes to what you were just saying is, why can't something be just what it is? Um, there are a lot of things that can't be figured out. Um, when it comes to the Bible, and you talk about these thousands of people in the Bible, these characters, whatever the case may be, I'm not so much concerned about finding a grave because to me that's nearly impossible. My thing is, if the Bible is supposed to be so accurate, so detailed about, let's just say, the history of man, let's just put it at that
All right.
for the conversation. Why are there still so many more assumptions about that timeline than it is in science? Because if someone finds a fossil of a dinosaur that was on this planet millions of years ago, and they can pretty much say where this animal was or what type of animal it was or wasn't or whatever the case may be, with concrete proof, because we have things left over. Well, we have animals that have man, what's the word? I can't that have survived through time. But you can't pull anything concretely from the Bible other than, for the most part, best assumptions to me. Um, so I don't. It's hard for me to solely base things on this planet on the Bible. Just that's just me. I just I find it hard to do because to me the Bible leaves too many unanswered questions. And what I do not like about that is when you ask someone because you generally want to know, you generally want to understand, they get offended. They get offended because you have questions. And it's like, if I ask, why does water turn to steam when it boils, which is a scientific question, because I want to know, I want to understand, and one can give me their best answer, which would damn near accurate, and I can go and repeat this and say with complete accuracy that, hey, what this person said is what happened. But when I'm asking the same thing about religion, I'll get attitude. I'll get, you have to have faith. I get a whole bunch of answers that keep me running around in circles, and I won't get the answer that I'm looking for. That's my problem with religion versus science.
My thing is this, right? Ever since I was a little boy, I've always been curious. You know, and that curiosity has got me many a ass whoopings over the years. Like, for example, my father had this little radio, little transitioner or resistor radio. Excuse me. I wanted to know why the motherfucker worked. How does it work? So me, like I'm sure many of other curious little boys, I opened the motherfucker up, took all the screws out, opened it up, took the face off, looked at it, didn't understand shit I was looking at it, but I played with it. I wanted to see what happens when you do this or move that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tear it up.
You just, open it up a little bit.
Just open it up a little bit. My father came in, he saw that. He went through the roof. He didn't understand that I'm curious. He put the radio back together. It worked. I still got my ass tore up for it, but I just always had that curiosity about me, and I'm sure again a lot of our listeners and people around the world can relate to that. But my thing is this: you give us religion, or the world has given us religion, and you tell us that supposedly religion comes from the continent of Africa. So if it comes from Africa, why are there still nations within that continent that are still discovering religion? That's just a question. That's just a question. But you telling me here, on this continent, that it left Africa and it came here and everybody and their mama knows about it here. But they're still discovering it over in Africa. So, anyway, you guys will pick back up there when we come back. Again, I am Sou X, and this is my brother.
Soul Touching the Poet in the house.
And we are the dynamic duo of the King and I Live podcast. So you guys,
for sure,
stay tuned, and we will return after this scheduled admission.
Here we go.